Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. This time we're going to be going over Ninja Gaiden. This is the third book in the Worlds of Power series. The book, for the most part, follows the game's plot. It does take a few detours because they needed to expand on some stuff and give it more of a happy ending instead of, Ryu's dad being dead forever in the game. They wanted to kind of clean that up a little bit. So it's pretty straightforward. Ryu is on a quest for vengeance. He's trying to avenge the death of his father because at the beginning of the book, he has no idea where his dad is. His dad's been gone his entire life, left a letter for him which informed him, hey, you need to go find this random guy. It's some professor that's given a name who happened to be with his dad when, I'll just call him Ken, when Ken was in the Amazon looking for this ancient temple with these two statues in it. And of course they find it. Ken gets captured. Ryu reads the letter and kind of finds all that out somehow from the letter. But we, the reader, get a flashback, so that's great. And then Ryu pretty much follows what's going on in the game. He goes to the United States, somehow gets tangled up with the CIA. I have no idea why they were involved or why they seem just so incredibly bizarre during all of this. But whatever, it's a game with ancient demons in it and a strange criminal organization that can just randomly mutate people. So hey, why not? We can go along with everything. And there's also the strange shinobi tie-in, which is kind of fun. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be related to Sega's shinobi game, but whatever. It's close enough, and I think it's kind of funny. So yeah, let's just leave that part in. So Ryu ends up eventually getting a hold of one of the statues after the other one gets stolen, and there's this whole weird switcheroo with the two, with the black and the white statue, where Ryu somehow ends up with the real statue because the CIA gives him the real black statue. Again, it's strange. And then they send the CIA agent lady down with him to, I guess, tell him that he has the real statue, which, I don't know. It's very weird. Anyway, they get captured and then separated, and Ryu has to go and fight all of the mini-bosses, which happens really fast. You get introduced to them, they get this big build-up of what this bad guy can do and everything, and then Ryu just kind of like pokes him with the sword, and that's the end of it. It feels kind of anticlimactic, but that's sort of what I would expect from this, especially when they get to Zhao, I think is the guy's name, the last boss before the demon. And that guy has a whole lot of build up to it, and I was reading and I honestly somehow missed the point where Ryu kills him. I'm not really even sure how it happened. I'm going to say his super ninja chi powers kill him off or something like that. That's after Ryu finds his dad, turns him back from a weird mutant acid spitting thing or a fire spitting thing back into his dad because he was mutated in some way. And I'm just now realizing, there's the Street Fighter reference with Ken and Ryu fighting through all this, but whatever. So the demon starts coming back to life, but thankfully it's not back to life all the way, and Ryu ends up killing it, gets told by his dad to escape, and not to take him because he would just slow him down, but then Ryu takes a detour to find the CIA lady and get her out. They get out, watch the temple crumble, and then where it differs is the book has Ken magically show up and everything is saved, so you get a somewhat happy ending at the end. So this will go into just a little bit into the what I liked and disliked, but I want to talk about this more now. The fights are wrapped up way too fast in this. I feel like there could have been more description in there. They could have, actually had a longer battle. Stuff could have taken place over more than just like a couple of paragraphs. It was kind of a shame that things got wrapped up that quickly, but hey, it's just kind of the way the Worlds of Power books go. Stuff doesn't really get the time that I think it needed to really, get explained or anything like that. Also, Ryu kind of moves around a bit too fast. It's almost like the guy can just teleport places. I know it's a book and everything they can cover a lot was saying he got on a plane and headed towards the place. But it kind of feels like you read one chapter, flip to the next one, and the dude's at the location that they said was thousands of miles away. And so I was kind of getting lost on how much time was really left here. Especially when you get to the temple. And there's one thing I'm noticing with a lot of these Worlds of Power books. They always seem to like slap a time limit on there, which kind of goes along with the games, because a lot of these games do give you a time limit. But it just sort of feels weird where it's like, oh, they've got an hour to solve this. And then that hour lasts like 3 days. It's kind of strange, but it's one of those things that you get whenever you read a book of fiction or you play a video game. They want to add in that sense of urgency or something like that. Or watch a movie. They want to add in a sense of urgency. And so it's nice that it's there because it kind of builds a little tension, but it was sort of weird and everything. Also, you don't really find out how Ken survives at the very end. It's just sort of like, ninja powers, and that kind of explains everything. Which honestly would have worked for me back when I was a kid. I definitely would have just been like, oh, well, yeah, he used his ninja powers. Now, though, I was kind of like, well, maybe you could explain that a little more or something like that. Anyway, let's just kind of do a quick overview of what I did like and dislike. So let's talk about what I do like first. I thought this was a really fun story. I think that they followed the game very well. I think it did a great job of sort of bringing that story from the game to the pages of the book. It worked really well with its source material. It didn't do anything weird like some of the other Worlds of Power books that I've read. There's no kid inserted into this, which was kind of getting a little annoying with the first couple of these that I read. And I'm starting to see maybe if I did read these in order, I would probably... Well, I don't think it would have changed much if I read these in order. But it just feels a little bit nicer to not have that, goofiness to this, because this one is a little bit more of a serious story that feels a little bit more mature than a few of the other ones that I've read. It's one of my favorite ones that I've read for this, not because I enjoyed the game very much or anything like that, but because it seemed like it took the source material more seriously than some of the others. And what I disliked is kind of the same for a lot of these. The battles don't go on very long. Stuff kind of just gets wrapped up really quick with no explanation. Feels like they sort of force some characters into this that don't really need to be there. I was kind of wondering why the CIA was even involved in this. It really doesn't make a whole lot of sense in the video game either, but here it's really like, why do any of you really need to exist? You are just kind of slowing everything down, and you're constantly fucking everything up. And I was starting to wonder, well, why did Ryu need to exist if they have the CIA that knew everything that was going on already, knew where these bad guys were? Why didn't they just go in and kill everyone? Because all the mini-bosses are basically using melee weapons. I feel like they could have just walked in, shot them all, and wrapped this up in like an hour or two. And instead they're like, yeah, our best course of action is to send one guy in with a ninja sword and his super ninja powers, which they may or may not have known about. But that's me looking at this from, 38-year-old Paul, who's like, well, this doesn't seem very realistic. And then I try to think back to, 10 to 14-year-old Paul would have thought this was amazing and would not have questioned any of it at all. Okay, so let's get into my final thoughts here. Um, I think this is a really good book, just on its own. It does a great job of, translating what was in the game to the pages. It's pretty enjoyable. It moves very fast. There is a lot of action in here, even though it isn't really expanded on very much. And it really was fun to sit down and read through this. It does have its faults, but those are the same faults that a lot of the Worlds of Power books have, and those are me kind of looking at them as an older reader and not the intended audience for this anymore. So that's pretty much going to wrap things up, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.